As Pablo mentioned, I'm entrepreneur in residence here. One of my functions is to meet with faculty and students about ideas for starting new companies or spinning off technologies. And I've enjoyed that part of my being here. But let me start off with what I see the purpose of this meeting is. First of all, does this make sense? Now to me it makes a lot of sense, but I'd rather hear that from you than my own thoughts. Give you an opportunity to see what faculty are working on here. Faculty can see what the local companies are doing. It's a lot better to meet and interact and have coffee, and we have a reception afterwards rather than just read about stuff in newspapers and trade journals. And of course is to determine what the next steps are. How do we go forward from here? So after this meeting we'll kind of make some notes, distribute them, and go to Plan B. A little bit of history. Princeton's had a number of really successful industrial academic interactions. And I just put 3 of them up here, but there are many more. These are the ones I've been involved with. About 20 years ago, there was a POEM, Center for Photonics and Optoelectronic Materials. Jim Sturm was heavily involved in creating that. PRISM, that sort of morphed into Princeton, which combined materials with the optoelectronics. And then finally, most recently, we have MIRTH with Prof. Claire Gamakel, and I'm not going to steal her thunder. I'll let her tell you about it, but that's also been a very successful industrial interaction. Just to give you my personal interaction, my history with Princeton and these types of academic interactions. I've had 2 startup companies, one Epitax in 1984, and the second one is called Sensors Unlimited. Epitax was more fiber optics, Sensors Unlimited was fiber optics and also infrared imaging. I got involved with Steve Forrest, who was on the faculty. He joined in 1992. About the same time, Marshall Cohen and I started Sensors Unlimited. And it was really a synergistic thing. And POEM, which was then the Industrial Affiliates Center, really provided the nucleus for us to interact. Steve was coming in. He needed to set up his equipment, get his students going. We were starting a company. We had engineers, but we didn't have a lot of equipment and facilities. So via joint R&D programs, we were able to share these things, and both really benefited from them. Lots of student jobs, not only summer jobs. I think at Census we probably hired maybe close to 10 Princeton graduates. We licensed patents. It was just a really nice interaction. Between these 2 companies, net, there was over $1 billion in sale. Over 1,000 jobs were created. And one of the best part is we were able to pay back over $100 million to the government in the form of corporate and payroll taxes. So it was really a win-win-win for everybody. And I give a lot of the credit for both of these companies to the centers that existed at Princeton University. So what I'm trying to do is to tell you it's really worked for me, and it can work for you too by getting involved with the university. As I said, it's been a great deal for everybody. Again, the MIRTH Center, I'm going to let Prof. Gamakel tell you more about that. But they've attracted companies from all over the United States that participate in it. In fact, I was down at a trade show called Clio last week in Baltimore, and I see they had their own booth at a trade show. So, it's really been an active organization and really gets out and interacts with the world. Now, if I was an industrial member, if I hadn't been involved in these things, I might say, well, how can a university help me? And, just a couple, I think you're going to find out by listening to these talks. But I think one of the best ways is by joint funding programs. My companies have used the SBIR system, Small Business Innovation Research. It's a funding system the government has for small businesses. But now with the stimulus program, there's a lot of other things going on. The Department of Energy, most recently these ARPA-E programs, but there are going to be more as the stimulus stuff evolves. And many, many of these programs either encourage or require companies to interact, to have universities on their programs, and vice versa, the universities to go out and find industrial participation. So I think the stimulus program is, just one of many ways that this can interact. At first glance, nanotechnologies and lasers, what does that have to do with me? Well, that may sound a little foreign to you or a little bit up in the clouds, but when you get into pollution monitoring and gas sensing, then it's not so far removed, because I think a lot of you deal with things like that. Let's turn it around. How can companies help universities? Just make them aware of the problems you have. An outlet for technology. There's a lot of great technology here, and if you get to talk to the people, this is how you'll find out. I can tell you from my own experience, Princeton's very easy to work with. John Ritter, in terms of licensing, he's a deal maker. And you won't sit there for tens of meetings. You'll get to the point, and we've worked with him for over 20 years, and we found not just John, but the whole university to be really easy and friendly to work with. So I think that's the end of my comments. I think next on the schedule is supposed to be the funding lady, Paula Durand. I don't see her here yet, so I think what we'll do is maybe start on, if you don't mind starting a little early, Claire, get on with that part of it, and when Paula comes in, we'll just have her talk about the funding programs available for the state.